Good morning. You have to excuse the poor video today. It's very early. Haven't slept much. God kind of got me up early and just trying to work through a bunch of stuff on my own. Well, me and God, but before anybody else gets up. How's that? As you saw, the title for today is Darkest Before the Dawn. The word for the day comes from Psalm 69. It's a Psalm of David. He says, this is verses 13 through 18. He says, "But as for me, my prayer is to you, O Lord, in the acceptable time. O God, in the multitude of your mercy, hear me in the truth of your salvation. Deliver me out of the mire, and let me not sink. Let me be delivered from those who hate me, and out of the deep waters. Let not the flood water overflow me, nor let the deep swallow me up. And let not the pit shut its mouth on me. Hear me, O God, for your loving kindness is good. Turn to me according to the multitude of your tender mercies. And do not hide your face from your servant, for I am in trouble. Hear me speedily. Draw near to my soul and redeem it. Deliver me because of my enemies." The phrase, "it's always darkest right before the dawn," a lot of people attribute that to the Bible. It's not actually a biblical proverb. It is a proverb, but it's been around for some time. One of the earliest Christian references I found for it is from 1760. John Wesley wrote in his journal, "It's usually darkest before daybreak. You shall shortly find pardon." And while there's some truth to that, the reality is it's always darkest whenever there's less light or in the absence of light. If the moon's not out to give the reflection of the sun, then it's going to be darkest. And so perhaps that's the the more poignant question is, is it really darkest just before dawn, or is it darkest in the absence of light? What are we missing in this picture? David was no stranger to adversity. He was no stranger to affliction. Now, some of it he brought on himself, and which is maybe one of the reasons why I can understand David so well. Part of it's just the process and the journey of becoming more like our Creator. Truth is, for me personally, I try to take time and encourage others along their walk. I try to bless others every chance I get. Try to stay in the Word. And sometimes life is just very rough. And sometimes we grow very tired in it. And it seems as if the pressures of life drive us into such a narrow path that we can walk with God. But that's when we have to look for the light in all circumstances and in all situations. It's the only thing that gets me through. I think about David, Psalm 27, "I would have lost hope had I not believed I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living." I think about David when he wrote the song, "You give me hinds feet and put me in high places." The surety of our steps. Man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. So if I pray for God to change my heart, why do my steps seem directed into such a difficult path? But we're not necessarily always called to the easiest of paths. We don't always have understanding. What we do have is light. We do have is hope. We do have is faith and trust and belief in God. I wish that I could somehow just put on a happy face right now and try to give you an exciting word and all I can say is I'm in the midst of the mire. I was talking with my wife last night and said, there's a story, you may have heard this, there's a story about this old man, and there's a flood that comes and he gets stuck on the roof of his house. He's praying to God. He's like, Lord, just send me some help, just save me from this. And a boat comes by and they said, hey, you want to ride? And he's like, no, I'm just waiting on God. A helicopter flies overhead. Hey, you want to lift? No, I'm just waiting on God. The floodwaters come and overtake the guy, and he ends up drowning. Shows up at heaven. Gets through the pearly gates and goes up to God and says, God, I got a question for you. Why didn't you help me? I waited in faith and trusting in you. I waited for you. And God looks at him and says, what do you mean didn't help you? I sent you a boat and a helicopter. You didn't take either one of those. Right? God a lot of times uses the common situations in our life. But sometimes, maybe like David wrote in this psalm, I'm just waiting. I'm looking for a boat. I don't even see one on the horizon. You just feel covered up to here. I told my wife last night, I feel up to my nose. Just like I can just barely keep up. Tired. Feel alone. But the reality is, God's promise is, I will never leave you nor forsake you. I've been young, now I'm old, yet have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Sometimes things are not fair, sometimes things aren't right. There's a lot of injustice that goes on. And a lot of times we bring our stuff on ourselves. But the truth is God is always faithful. Even when I don't see it, I know He's there. Even when I don't feel Him, I know He's there. And He gives me the truth of His Word to encourage me and get me through the most difficult of circumstances. That's where I am today. I got a lot on me. And I hand it over to God. But the next day, the phone calls that come in don't go to heaven, they come to me. And just bring all that back up. My prayer is that God will bring forth all that He needs to bring forth in my life speedily. And when it seems darkest, I'm going to look for the light. That's a personal choice. I'm going to look for the light. I'm going to trust in He that holds the entire universe within His hands, and the giver of all things good. That's where I am. My prayer for you, that if you're in this place, that you're encouraged to look for the light. If you've been in this place before, and you've come out of it, then pray for me. Either way, we should bear one another's burdens. We should pray for one another. We should love each other with a fervent love. This is the calling of Christ. Love God, love others. So that's where I am today. I'm looking for the light. I'm going to share the light when I find it, and I'm going to try to love others around me. Blessings. And we shall talk again soon, perhaps.